Hey everybody, this is Andrew from TS for Tech, and I am testing today the Primo EM172 omnidirectional microphone that I created. And again, I use the term created loosely. I basically ordered the microphone, and I ordered a solder TRS jack from Amazon, and I just kind of connected it together, right? So it's I hate to say that I created some fancy thing when it's really not. It's just I just connected the microphone to the jack and plugged it in. So there you go. I'll show you here. I'll take a video of what the setup looks like with my phone. So we'll flip you. I'll show this in the video. So if you look, basically, it's a 90-degree TRS jack adapter, so it doesn't add a lot of height to the overall Osmo Pocket, which is something I wanted to kind of avoid, because if this went straight down and the microphone was then on there, you could see it's going to add quite a bit of additional height to the Osmo Pocket, and this dongle thing is already stupid and too long, so I figured an L-shaped, the L shape would be better. Basically. And then again, as a couple people pointed out, it's omnidirectional. Doesn't really matter which direction it points. It should pick up the the audio equally well. But like I said, I wanted to kind of keep this thing as compact as possible, and actually be able to turn it out of the way, etc. So this is what it looks like, and this is how I got it hooked up on my dash with the with my 3D printed Osmo Pocket bracket GoPro thing. So there you go. So I'm gonna just drive. I gotta run a couple errands, and I'll just talk while I'm driving, and hopefully give you a good idea of what this omnidirectional Primo microphone sounds like on the Osmo Pocket. So yeah. And I should say, again, generally, so the face track is on the Osmo Pocket. The Osmo Pocket audio level is set to auto, and I just have found that's another thing that's interesting. Auto, it obviously does some things like automatic gain control. And I could tell in some of the prior videos that I was doing that there's a little bit of adjustment if some loud noise comes on. You could hear the level kind of come down and then kind of ramp back up. So it's doing its own kind of automatic gain adjustment, I guess, as part of. And again, I don't know what the algorithms are, how this thing actually works. What is it doing? But that auto level is the only thing that really sounds good in Premiere to me. Now that I've got a good microphone, when I was using the microphones that were kind of not correctly wired, I guess I would say, right? The whole video, if you want to look at about the tip and the ring having to have an audio signal, or the Osmo Pocket was doing something funky there. If that's set up, the auto works best, it sounds like to me. I've done some tests with high, and maybe a little bit later I'll do the same thing here. I'll put this on high so you can hear the difference, but moderate and low are totally worthless, as I've said on some other videos, and I'm sure other people have said in videos. It doesn't work. The gain levels are just way too low. So, yeah. But anyway, so I found that in testing that I haven't put on YouTube, I've spent many hours just recording myself and listening to the audio trying to understand what is going on. And I mean, I guess from my standpoint, I would love for DJI to release some sort of firmware update for this thing so that it's more predictable. But then I kind of worry that it's going to totally screw up all the work that I've been doing so far to figure out how to make this sound pretty good. But I guess that's just the risk of, and I would hate to say I'm an early adopter of this, because I mean, they announced this thing in December with the audio adapter, and you know, I don't know. I mean, to me, it seems like it was one of those things like Apple, right? Hey, we have this thing, but we're not done with it yet, and there's still problems, but then we'll release it because we have to, because people are complaining, like, have this really cool camera, this really great camera, but you can't really use it because the audio is not so great in the camera. So I don't know if they just released it prematurely, or they rushed, or what the deal is, but yeah, so here I'm at my first stop. I'm going to turn this off, and I'll be back in a couple minutes when this is done. Yeah, this seems to work pretty good though. I mean, I do think that the recording mounted to a car window using this GoPro mount seems to do a fairly good job of of keeping the footage stabilized. It doesn't jitter around much at all, which I was a little bit surprised with initially, because I thought that it would, when you hit bumps and things like that, that the GoPro mount would add a little bit too much kind of jitter to the Osmo, and it would kind of mess it up, but it doesn't really seem to be the case. I'm also interested to kind of hear what kind of noise this picks up within the cab of the car, because it is an omnidirectional mic, and I'm wondering if it's going to pick up way too much of the noise in the car itself. So I had to stop using the audio from the actual Osmo Pocket and the microphone at this point, because the auto setting, and I found, I guess, today is the first time I tried using it with this combination in the car, is that there's just too much surrounding noise, and it tricks the Osmo Pocket into thinking that it really needs to reduce the gain of the audio. So while if I'm not moving in the car, as I was in the beginning of this, it sounded okay and the audio levels were good. As soon as you start to accelerate, as soon as there's some noise coming into the cabin of the car, it just put the gain levels way too low for the voice. So it's not usable in this fashion in the car. So again, you know, I thought I had some success, but then it just puts me back on my feet, and now I'm irritated again. So I'll have to try to redo this whole thing just using the high setting on the noise on the microphone input level instead of the auto, because the auto will work good in a controlled environment, but it does not work good at all if it's outside of that. Anyways, so hopefully this video is a little bit helpful. The one positive thing is that I do think that the microphone sounds good in certain situations, and it works pretty well as just kind of like a cheap little, you know, and it ended up costing me about $15 to make the little microphone. And I'll link to some of the components in the description here in case anybody else is interested in making one themselves. You know, that's cool. But the biggest thing is I'm still just frustrated and disappointed with the consistency of the Osmo Pocket audio. And I really hope that DJI releases some sort of firmware update that takes care of all this stuff, because honestly, if I was gonna get this now after looking at, you know, people like having the problems that they have, I would just hold off. Honestly, it's not worth the hassle. This is Andrew from TS for Tech. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.